Hi, it's Lara. Welcome to my channel. This video is about how to get a US passport for a baby. This would also work for any child under 16, so stay tuned while I walk you through the process and give you some tips. So when can you get a passport for a baby? Well, you need their social security number and their birth certificate, and those take just a couple of weeks after their birth, but once those come in, you can get the process started. So the website is travel.state.gov, and we need to get a US passport. I need a passport, and I'm applying for my child under age 16. Okay, so here is all the information you need to get a passport for your child. So let's start with step 1, fill out form DS11. And here you can choose on the right this PDF version where you will print it out and fill it out by hand. But the easier way to do this is this form filler on the left, and you will enter data and it automatically fills out the application for you, and then you just print that off. So let's go to form filler. I have read the privacy. And we are, filling out online and printing, submit. And then there's some things in the instructions to note. So it says, do not make any handwritten changes. So if there is an error that you notice after you print it out, you'll just have to redo it and print it out again. And then also it says, do not sign your name. This is really important. You are going to go have an in-person meeting, and that is where you'll sign your name. So I will talk about that in a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this application out, obviously with fake information, and then I'll show you what it's going to look like. So I'll just speed this clip up. So next steps after filling out your forms. So how to submit it. Both parents/guardians and the child must appear at an acceptance facility. So you need to do an in-person appointment in order to send off your info, and that is where you'll sign your form. So don't sign it until you go to this in-person meeting. And so you're going to locate it, the nearest facility, using this button. I was able to do mine at a US post office. And then you'll need to submit a few things with the form. So a recent passport photo, the fees, and so $100 for non-expedited, and then $35 is how much it costs at the facility. This $100 needs to be a check that you send off with the passport application. The $35 you'll pay to the facility at your appointment. Proof of citizenship and proof of relationship to the parents. So that actually, the birth certificate works for both of those. So that's all you need. And then both parents also need their photo ID and a photocopy of it to send off. So then go ahead and print the forms. And here it is. You actually do not need to submit these first 4 pages. It's just these last 2. So here's the application. And see, you will not sign it. Don't fill out this portion until you're there. And And here it is. Okay. So if we go back to this page of applying for the passport for children under 16, it goes through some of the other requirements. They are simple, but there are a few to make note of. So you filled out your form, you printed it out, and you did not sign it. Okay, so then you need proof of U.S. citizenship. This is for the child. And U.S. birth certificate is going to be the easiest and most common. And so one thing to note is you do have to wait until you get the birth certificate in the mail. It also needs to be a certified copy, so it can't be a photocopy. So when we got our birth certificate, we ordered 2 copies of it so we can keep one really crisp one, and then one can be sent off to different places if we ever need it. So birth certificate for U.S. citizenship. There's other things you can do, but a birth certificate's going to be the easiest. Okay, so then you do need a photocopy of it that you're going to send off, but you also need the original certified copy. So you'll need the regular certified copy and a photocopy of the birth certificate. The parental relationship, the birth certificate is adequate. So again, that's going to be the easiest. Present ID. So this is for the parents or guardians. So you have to show your ID. Driver's license is fine. Also your own passport. So we just had our driver's licenses. That worked fine. But here's a list of things, if you have other forms of ID. And then a photocopy of the front and back of the IDs. So bring that as well. So parental consent. They do want both parents to go to the appointment, but if one parent is not able to go for various reasons, here are the instructions for what to do about that. And then provide a photo. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. Calculate fees. So it's $100 for the application that you're going to send off in a check to the passport facility, and then wherever you do your appointment is $35 on top of that. Expedited's an additional $60. We didn't do that because we don't need the passport right away, so we were willing to wait a little bit. And actually, here's the processing time: 10 to 13 weeks for routine. Expedited is 7 to 9. So to us, it was worth it to save $60 because 10 to 13 weeks, we can wait that long. And then you will submit your application at your appointment. So I want to talk about the photo requirements. So if you go under provide a photo, you can click on the link for our requirements. And passport photos, they have all of these requirements. Definitely read through them. But then if you go down to children, there are some slight differences for babies. They are a little more lenient. So it is acceptable if the infant's eyes, particularly a newborn, are not entirely open. We were actually able to get our baby's photo with his eyes open, and I think that would probably be ideal, but they are okay with the baby's eyes not being completely open. And there is an easy way to take the baby's photo at home, and you can do it by laying them on a white sheet or putting a white sheet in the car seat and setting them in it. And I think doing it at home is going to be a lot easier because you are able to do it at a time when your baby is awake, less fussy. You have more control over the timing of that, and it's in an environment that you and your baby are both more comfortable in. So doing it at home is going to be a lot easier. So you can actually just take the photo at home on a cell phone, and then you can upload it to idphotoforyou.com. They will create a photo that has 4 copies of the photo on it, and then you can print it out onto a 4x6 photo, which costs about 20 cents at any photo store like Rite Aid or Walgreens. and then you can just cut it out. So if you were to print out a passport photo from Walgreens, it's $17. But instead you use this website and you can do it for 20 cents. This is what we did and it worked. So I'm going to link this in the description below because it's going to save you a lot of money. So something to know about the in-person application for the passport, we did ours at the post office and they were booked out a couple of weeks. So I would check earlier rather than later because the appointment might take some time to get. All children under 16 require an in-person appointment for the passport and they're valid for 5 years. So every 5 years you'll go into your in-person appointment to renew the passport. And the photo requirements for a newborn are a little different for children under 16 because newborns, they don't require their eyes to be fully open. We were able to get our baby's eyes fully open, which I think is helpful, especially because the passports are valid for 5 years, but it's not a requirement. So look at the photo requirements for children and especially newborns if that's when you're getting this passport. So here's just a visual of everything we needed for the appointment. So you have the baby's photo. You have a check for the passport agency. You have your passport application filled out and printed. You have a certified copy of the birth certificate and a photocopy of that birth certificate. You have photocopies of the parents' IDs for the baby. And you have, if needed, a marriage certificate if your name is different, your last name has changed. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you to get a passport for your baby. And if you have any questions regarding this process, just leave them in the comments below. And if there's any videos you want me to make about traveling with a baby, also leave those questions in the comments below. And until next time, stay adventurous.